It's places like here at Bo Diddley Community Center Plaza and at Tent City and St. Francis House where Gainesville's homeless seek refuge. As you can see, I'm actually standing on what appears to be a portion of the wing of the airplane that still remains here 37 years later. 15 of the deceased horses were brought right here to Gainesville, to the University of Florida's College of Veterinary Medicine. That's right, Dan and Nadine. Here in Gainesville, we have hundreds of gators living in our own backyard. President Obama is demanding the nation's biggest banks do a better job of lending to small and mid-sized businesses. National health officials are urging everyone to consider getting vaccinated against swine flu. They lost control of their vehicle, crashing into these trees right here. The accident left Amber in critical condition and claimed the lives of her two friends. Dawn was tending to the Victorian water lilies behind me when a 12-foot, 400-pound alligator jumped out of the water. The waters are rising to dangerous levels and flooding the homes behind me. I'm sure it also feels good not to have to pay that gym membership when you can just exercise right outside and get all the same benefits. The Cash for Clunkers program will stall at the end of this week unless the Senate fills the program's tank with money. The national unemployment rate is now above 10% for the first time since 1983. We'll have the details coming up for you at 5:30. 37 years ago, one of the first jumbo jets crashed in the Florida Everglades, killing more than half of the people on board. The tragedy led to books and movies, even a pop song. Endless pieces of drama long forgotten now. But there's a more lasting story about Flight 401 that can still be found if you take the time. The memories of its survivors.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. We crashed. Oh my God, we crashed.
Ron Infantino remembers the crash of Eastern Airlines Flight 401 as if it was yesterday.
It happened so quickly, and that's my thoughts that run into my head. Are we crashing? Are we crashing? I'm going like this, and all of a sudden the lights in the cabin were going on and off as fast as possible, and everything was flying over the overheads.
December 29, 1972. On his way back to Miami after the honeymoon, Ron and his new wife Lily married for just 20 days.
I felt a whirlwind. It was like being thrown back and forth, and all of a sudden I heard a gushing wind, and next thing I knew it, I was in a sitting position in a swamp.
A scene he'll never forget.
People yelling and screaming in the wilderness in the dark. Of course, it was so dark that night. I can't tell you how dark it was. It was pitch dark.
99 dead on the scene. Ron among the 77 rushed to hospitals, where 2 more wouldn't make it.
They asked me who I was and my name and what religion I was. And I said, what religion? And then no more than 5 minutes later, a priest came over. He gave me last rites.
Only one thing was on his mind.
He says, I don't care about, anybody found my wife, And I never saw her after that. 2 days later, they found her body. It took 2 days to find her body. Imagine that. We were scattered. We were just scattered all over the place.
101 dead out of 176 passengers and crew members. Pilot error would later be listed on the NTSB report on Flight 401.
Hey, we just happened to be one of those coldest nights around there in time.
Jesse Kennan, the owner of Coopertown Airboat Tours, also remembers that night. He rounded up some fellow airboaters and headed to the crash scene.
When you first got there, you didn't know what to look at. It just all of a sudden it was pieces of metal, and you started finding people, and then you find people, that were face down and are even actually still sitting in the seats, and just started trying to help anyone that you could find.
37 years later, Jesse revs up the airboats and takes the newly formed Flight 401 tribute group to the place where it all began. At the scene, the group shares lunch together.
You guys help yourself. Let me know what you guys want now, okay?
And an amazing discovery.
As you can see, I'm actually standing on what appears to be a portion of the wing of the airplane that still remains here 37 years later.
Most of all, they remember.
Because I've been granted the gift of life, I want to
The group plans on building a memorial here.
Do you think in the end that this will give you some sort of closure?
I think it will. Because I've always said to myself, for all these years, why hasn't anybody done anything about this? Why are we forgotten?
For now, the group works together to share their story.
Quite different than.
And to lean on one another.
Okay. All these years, huh?
Remembering the one night that forever changed their outlook on life.
I numbered things in life from 1 to 10, and 10 is a plane crash. So when I'm stuck in traffic or late for an appointment, or somebody in the grocery line is, has a bad check and I can't get through, and you're waiting and waiting, and it says, okay, Ron, let's really number this. It surely is not a 10.
Making Ron one of the true survivors.
Ron and other members of the Flight 401 tribute group meet every Saturday. The group is looking for sponsors to help with the memorial. Tomorrow we'll revisit Flight 401 through the eyes of some of the flight attendants who focused on their jobs throughout all the death and chaos that night in the Everglades. Stay with us. More news in a minute.
Waters in North Florida are rising and rivers are reaching record-breaking levels. The National Weather Service has issued a flood warning for portions of the Suwannee, Santa Fe, and Withlacoochee rivers. Joe Flanagan of the Suwannee River Water Management District says recent weather is to blame.
Well, after several months of severe drought, the district experienced anywhere between 5 and 10 inches of rainfall over a period of about a week, which resulted in some pretty severe flooding conditions.
Right now, the Withlacoochee is at the highest level ever recorded in history. As you can see, the waters are rising to dangerous levels and flooding the homes behind me. Yvonne Yeomans has lived off of the river for almost 20 years.
We've never had the water rise like this before, and not this fast.
This is her land now.
You don't know how to feel. You think, well, God knows what he's doing, but I sure wish he'd help me out here and tell me what's going on.
Records show the last time waters were even close to this level was in 1948. In Madison County, I'm Cristina Xuarez for WUFT News.
When it rains, I don't know where they go.
On any given day on the steps of Gainesville City Hall, you can find the voice of the homeless, and it belongs to Pat Fitzpatrick. A retired social worker, Fitzpatrick frequently heads to City Hall to try to get his message across and to help the homeless in the area.
Thank you so much. You're welcome, brother.
Inside City Hall, you'll find Pat's not the only one speaking up for Gainesville's homeless. In 2007, when the city decided to close down the homeless encampment known as Tent City, Commissioner Jack Donovan was the only one to vote against it.
There seem to be so many other alternatives rather than scattering homeless people through the city.
It's places like here at Bo Diddley Community Center Plaza and at Tent City and St. Francis House where Gainesville's homeless seek refuge. However, city and county officials have been working hard to relocate them elsewhere.
And that's what got Gainesville placed 5th on the National Coalition for the Homeless's Meanest Cities list for the second time.
Well, I was surprised that we weren't first.
In 2005, the city did announce a 10-year plan to end homelessness, but since the plan was initiated, many laws and ordinances have been passed by the commission to restrict the homeless. In the city of Gainesville, it is illegal to receive money from motorists or give money to a pedestrian while in traffic, to sleep in public from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., or to use a public bathroom after 5 p.m.
It's criminalizing everyday things that people have to do.
If you have 1,600 homeless people in your city, and if at any given time 700 of them don't have any kind of shelter for the night or any kind of bathroom facilities, what's the best way to deal with that? They're human beings.
The commission has voted on a location for a one-stop homeless shelter, but until then, the city continues to evict homeless from the woods of Tent City, and restrictions have been placed on the St. Francis House for how much food they can provide.
There are hungry people everywhere. And what are they supposed to do? How are they supposed to eat when the places that feed the destitute food are allowed to only feed so many people?
There are people letting people starve here.
Which is why Fitzpatrick will continue to speak for the homeless until things get better.
They have no right to tell us that we can't feed people, and if we need to go to jail and, put ourselves in that spot, we'll do it. I just hope it isn't done during football season.
For ABC News on Campus, I'm Cristina Xuarez, Gainesville, Florida.